Salute.
Zoom sounds good. All right. Company attention. Hey, what's good? What's good? What's good? You know what it is. It's me, your boy Trey, the commission. You got my man, the People's Coast. He's on. We locked in. CC's in the building. Y'all know what it is. First formation, the C.O.B. Y'all know it's the last close out the day. And y'all get to hear us for about an hour as we get ready to talk about some of the sports that's been popping, what's happening, what's cracking, lading around the sports industry. And then, of course, our picks for the Thursday night and, of course, the early Sunday game. CC, what's good, man? What's going on, bro?
Man, after election week, after after election week, the Yankees folded a couple of weeks ago. Now, shout out to Mookie Betts and Otani for winning. How about Otani being moving one move and he already won a championship like real
So,
quick.
go ahead.
I was gonna say he won a championship already. So what does that tell you? Juan Soto, one move to the Yankees. They in the World Series. I think some of these people get it right and some get it wrong. Now the Yankees didn't win, but if they can lock Soto down, they might be right back.
I say, so when you look at that, is when you bring it up. Of course, I'm all about it. You know what I'm saying? Big Blue Wrecking Crew, Los Angeles Dodgers, they're ninth. Is it the eighth or the ninth World Series? They got a long way to go before they catch the Yankees. But, you know what I'm saying? It's another one. But funny enough, Shohei Otani moved, like you said, one move, which was basically down the highway because he went from the Los Angeles Angels to the Los Angeles Dodgers with a bigger payday. And that first year, the Dodgers are in the World Series once again. Let's not act like they don't be there. They're back in the World Series, but this time with a W. It's just one of those things. Like you said, Freddie Freeman did his thing. Kiki Fernandez did their thing. Like everyone, and the expectations that they're going to run it back. And I know one of the things they're trying to avoid is certain players going to the Los Angeles Dodgers again because we know one of the biggest things in baseball is there ain't no salary cap. If you can pay them,
Right.
you can play them.
If you can pay them, you can play them.
I wonder what that look like in the NFL. Could you imagine? They have to have a cap.
Man,
They have to put some rules out there, or else it would be
I think
pandemonium.
well, the NFL is the only one that's behind the curve. Like basketball has increased pay. The quarterbacks are the only ones making all this huge money in the NFL. I think if they spread some of the love to some of these skilled players, um, I think it'll make a difference on some of these teams that's actually quote unquote chasing the crown. Um, but if you're gonna give all the money to the quarterback, what you gonna have left? You see the Cowboys suffering from that right now, right? Give the quarterback all the money, and now you don't have other players. I mean, CD Lamb got a big chunk too, but not as much as Dak. And now you don't have as much wiggle room to even go after players at the trade deadline or sign free agents or anything. It cripples you in football to have such high salaries.
So we know right now that the market is set at 60 million per DAC, 60 million a year. We know it's going to be reset next year when it comes time for the 49ers to pay Brock Purdy. And then, of course, it's probably going. I don't know if it gets reset again because it's what the market dictates, right? That's what we understand. It's what the market dictates. But at one point, who's going to be the person to buck the trend of saying, okay, like legitly, maybe it should have been bucked by Dak. Dak was playing, or his numbers say he was. Did his numbers say he was a $60 million player? Was his play saying he was a $60 million player? The player
Well,
before that,
his regular season numbers did like as far as postseason, no. But his regular season numbers said that he was one of the best quarterbacks. Like except for this year, minus this year, he been killing it. Like he was runner up, MVP runner up last year. So I think they pay you off of what you already done and projecting what you may do in the future. But it is not looking good for Dak now with an injury on top of it, and another injury. I think it's a hamstring this time. Um, I think they rushed to judgment on that. I would have held off on paying Dak actually, right? Like you pay Burrow, right? Because you want Burrow 10 years, but Dak already 8 9 years deep. I think you can hold off on paying him
So it's so what you was just going what you was just saying. Do you think should be playing for what a player is doing in the postseason? I mean, not the postseason, the whole as a whole projective, or for the regular season? Because we all know only 14 teams go to the postseason. So when you look at paying, if you're a GM, are you paying said player, particularly your quarterback, who's supposed to be the reason why your team goes the way it goes? Are you paying him based on his how he plays during the regular season, or totality? Like y'all ain't got to the playoffs, you kind of like looking at us, you're not worth that. Like, what's your mindset?
My mindset is winning. I'm from the old school. Like people didn't get paid before they won, right? Like MJ didn't get paid before he won. Like think about what MJ was making. I mean, I'm just saying you can use basketball as an example because that's easier to use. But Jerry Rice wasn't making ridiculous money when he started.
Nah.
Joe Montana wasn't making. You know, like they had to work for that. They had to work for those for those upper echelon contracts. Now they just handing them out like candy.
Well,
Like everybody gets one.
because the
Like
media rights
it's
dictate that
Oprah
now.
Winfrey. It's Oprah
you get
Winfrey
a
now.
you get a
you
bag,
know,
you get a bag, you
you
get a
know,
bag. So,
that's
but you
what it
know,
is.
it's dictated by the media rights though. That's where the money's at. If your market could bring in viewership, that brings in the dollars, and as a whole conglomerate as the NFL, that's basically what they go. And it's because they do the bidding so early with 10 to 15 year contracts. Then those media, and we're going to pay you X amount of dollars over the course of this contract. It determines like, okay, this is what we're going to do. So the media is what brings in the money, which allows the teams that revenue sharing, and then they have that money. Of course, they put their money into who is supposed to be bringing in the pay. In which, in this case, in the NFL, it's the quarterback for whatever reason,
But
because
what?
every quarterback ain't the same.
But what about the Deshaun Watson move, Cleveland? Like that. It wasn't a good move when they did it,
Highest
and it's
bidder,
proven and it's proven not to be a good move at all, right?
highest
Like,
bidder, highest bidder.
like,
Everyone ain't gonna
like
be like the 49ers and be able to strike gold at the bottom of the totem pole. And then so
right.
every
But
year.
I think that's where you pushing them, right? That's where you pushing teams, right? Like once these quarterbacks age out, then you go into the draft and you're gonna get a young one. Like you're gonna get a young one to come, and then you start that 4 years, and then you got 3 years before you gotta pay them, right? Maybe four if you want to wait that long, but you got 3 years before you gotta pay them. I think the teams that do that are smart. Um, like I said, it worked out for Cincinnati, and then they had to pay Burrow, right? Because you don't even want him grumbling. You want to keep him in the building, so you had to pay him a little bit sooner. Herbert the same way. The Chargers had to pay Herbert.
So it's so what we've been seeing, of course, when you think about it and take into consideration what you've been seeing is the fact that every quarterback is not the same. Like we said, Brock Purdy is a prime example of what it is. Mr. Irrelevant 2-3 years ago, and now he's a franchise quarterback. Been ever since he's been a winning quarterback. Ever since he's played in nothing but conference. His end state has been conference championship or later in the 3 years. In 3 years in which he's played. I mean, 2 years in which he's played. Three. So they're gonna say he's been to two conference championships and a Super Bowl, and now here he is with another opportunity to go with to get another conference championship or Super Bowl potentially. We don't know. So when you look at that, like everyone's can't get to that. So what we do, they draft a quarterback like you were just talking about early in the season, early in the young quarterbacks, and look how many have actually played out when you think about it. Like the
Well,
majority
that's
of
what I'm
them in the
saying.
last 2 years are benched.
Yeah, they benched or are not even in the league, right? Some of them not even in the league. But you look at remember Mark Sanchez, right? When he went to
Mm-hmm.
the Jets, he was in like three straight AFC Championship games to come off the rip, right? Like so you like whoa. So the Jets seemed like they wanted to lock him down, right? But then he had that infamous butt fumble, and that was the end. That was pretty much the end of Mark Sanchez, right? Like, but a guy that had a pedigree of getting you to AFC Championship games or being managing a team well enough to get there, and then that was all he was worth. Then after that, he was like a backup quarterback. You never really heard much from him, right? Like so
So
so.
it's so much that could go into the NFL. I don't want to burn too much ammo for Sunday, but it's so much to go with the NFL. I'm going to even omit going into these draft picks, like we're going to not draft pick these trades and switching the free agency until Sunday. But let's go into something else that's been happening, not necessarily in the NFL, but in basketball. What do you think of the NBA season so far? Any surprises for you?
Man, the NBA is becoming like the WWE to me. And I say that, man, Joel Embiid, right? Like I put up the post. Joel Embiid was gonna miss those games anyway, people. Like those 3 games he got suspended. He did that on purpose, with purpose. They knowing he was gonna miss those games. You do that at the same time they investigating you, right? They investigating your team for mismanaging
For
your
that,
injuries,
yeah,
for the injury
yeah.
protocols and stuff. Then the next thing you know, you purposely get suspended. It makes a lot of sense though, right? Like I'm gonna miss those games anyway. Like Joel Embiid, he's not the first one. Like we seen it. Like to me, it's the same thing. I haven't seen anything different for other than if you want to talk the Knicks looking good. Sometimes, but not all the times with Cat yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like with Cat yet. If you want to talk about Boston looking like they're gonna be hard to catch up with, or hard to beat late in the season. Like I think those two young men found themselves now, Trey. And it ain't no going back. It ain't no
With
going back. And then
Jaden and Tatum.
Jalen and Tatum, they found themselves, and then they got a good veteran crew around them. To me, the wild card is still Drew Holiday, man. If any team can keep Drew Holiday, you're gonna win. And then what about the busted? I'm so disappointed in the Bucks. I don't care if Giannis ain't suiting up. How you one and whatever or two and whatever your record is. Doc Rivers, you supposed to be this mastermind coach. You can't coach Dame Lillard. Dame Lillard was playing better than that in Portland.
So, with that being said, right, these coaches that we see, we got Pop that's still around. You got Tyronn Lue. Let's get sit up and talk about some of the ones that which are from the older school. Tyronn Lue, Popovich, Doc. Like when you take a look at these coaches, do you think they're starting to get they're kind of like past their prime nowadays, and we don't is they're being talked about because of who they was?
Yeah, I no doubt. Papa ain't done nothing in a while. Papa ain't moved the needle in a minute, man. But he still got that championship thing. He ain't had winners since they left. Like he ain't really made the playoffs since Tony Parker then left. Like I think he made what one time with DeRozan and those
Yeah,
guys. But I mean,
last year, a couple
Pop
years
is.
ago.
I'm not saying Pop can't coach, but I'm saying it might be past his time at this point. I told you that last year. I didn't think he was the one to coach Wemby. Because this year you was looking for growth and you was looking for San Antonio. They still bottom of the barrel. They still bottom of
Three
the
and five.
barrel.
Yeah, right now,
And then they
if
went and
it
got,
was a start year,
but then you went and got old Chris Paul, which
I
that was
I
a good
want I
move.
know people hate the term floor general, especially when it comes to Chris
Yeah,
Paul, but that's what he went and get. He got
that was
someone
a
that
good move 3 years ago. That was a good move 3 years ago. Right now, Chris Paul, after what he did in Golden State, didn't do anything. With a championship, with a quote unquote championship squad, they didn't go anywhere. They didn't do anything. It's 3 years too late for Chris Paul. I'm not knocking Chris Paul. I think, but no, Wemby needed somebody younger that's gonna be around to run with him. Like when the Lakers got Shaq, they had a young Kobe. They had a young guy waiting in the wings, right? With all those veteran players, but they had a young guy waiting to do something. Where is Wimby's Kobe or Penny Hardaway or anybody like that? You got Chris Paul. Come on, man. Come
so
on.
who
That's how you know Popovich. That's how you know Popovich done. That's how
so
you know he
who
done right there, making that
who do you
decision.
think would have been a better fit for Wemby than Chris Paul?
Anybody right now, like, look. If you could have found a way to get a trade for like a Bradley Bill or somebody, man, somebody with some life, with some tread on the tires, somebody. I would even take. I would take D'Angelo Russell off the Lakers' hands or something and pair him with this guy, man. I mean, it's
Stop
a lot
it.
of people that you got. You know
Stop
what
it.
I'm saying? Like, I'm
So
just saying.
what you need,
No,
I
I'm
think
saying.
what they did was a point guard, and they got a point guard, like a point guard. That's what I meant, not floor general. Chris Paul is a floor general, point guard. I know you do not like the term Chris Paul and point guard in the same stratosphere, but that's what they need
Man.
is a point guard.
And then okay, so here's the thing. Chris
Okay.
Paul has proven that he's very injury prone, right?
Okay.
So that's why That's another reason why it's like, hey man, it's time to move away from the Chris Paul thing, thinking that he gonna help you build something with a team right now. Chris Paul needs to be on like the Miami Heat or something. A team that's already geared to go, and he can just come in and fit in, and then they can work around his injuries. Golden State wasn't able to work around his injuries last year, but somewhere else they could work around. Even Phoenix probably he could have went back to Phoenix. They can probably work around his injuries better than a young team like what you need with the young players is consistency and continuity. They're not gonna get that out of Chris Paul.
So we went and checked out the San Antonio Spurs game versus the Houston Rockets, their first game of the season, right?
Right.
And of course, Chris wasn't on there. No, what I will say is, as I'm sitting here thinking about it right now, Wemby has developed a shot, and that is now part of his game. Like he's on his dirt shit right now, in a sense. Like Wemby, like, I don't know how long that's going to hold up. I mean, if they
So
continue
you
to do
see,
what, go
you
ahead.
see the Spurs making the playoffs within the next year or two.
Only so it's going to have to be more of lottery in the lottery for that to happen.
Exactly.
I mean, they
See what I
got
mean?
yeah, it's going to have to be
See
some
what I
more of
mean?
a lottery that's going on in order for that to happen. And which say, I mean, can you see? Could it be? And what's interesting, and when I say the lottery, like the Spurs can finish dead last. It doesn't mean they're gonna get that number one spot. And we know who's supposed to be right now. It's supposed to be Cooper Flag, right? That's supposed to be the prize pupil coming out in this draft. I don't know. Um, it's just fun. It's just funny how it comes out. And it's in sports in general. You look at the youth that's coming in, the injection of youth out of college, and who's out there. The difference is in basketball, just like baseball, foreign or overseas players are seen and watched as well. We don't see that in football. We're not going to see anyone going to grab. Uh,
Remember they tried that with the NFL Europe. It didn't really work. They tried to
yeah.
develop players in NFL Europe. It didn't really work.
So
You
yeah.
got a
So
couple of
it's
tough kickers out of that deal, but that's about
yeah. It's. I mean, heck, that's Aubrey, y'all kicker. That's where he came. Well,
it.
Aubrey didn't come from there. He was just doing something different. But it's like different. Like you said, the national game in baseball and basketball, international game is something serious to where you see like it was posted on the First Formation Facebook page a while back with the little Bleacher Report rap thing that had the old school, the OGs, and then at the end, who comes in is the foreign players or the international
Right.
players who are the five that they showed: Victor, um, Jokic, Giannis, um,
Giannis.
uh, Luca, and I forgot who the fifth one was. They showed some very dominant players, in which is like, is there NBA there in that mindset? So it's like that type of stuff when you look at it. But the international game is starting to be the
No.
strongest game in the
The,
U.S.
the
In my opinion.
NFL. I mean, the NBA is not their game. It's not the international players' game. This is why.
You know? Okay, I'm listening.
This is why. Giannis, in all the years he's played one championship, he should have more championships than that. After he got his one, he clearly doesn't care anymore, man. He clearly not the same guy. He not even conditioning the same. He on the injured list all the time now. When he was going after something, he wasn't on the injured list like that. He kept his body lean. He was in shape. He was ready. Now it's party time. He got a ring. Same thing with Jokic. Jokic came back at least 10 pounds, 10, 15 pounds out of shape from the year that he won the championship last year when he played. He wasn't in shape anymore, man. It's like they won and they done. Nobody wants to do three in a row or try to push for four in a row or none of that kind of stuff. Let me get one, and then I'm the best player for this one year, and that's it. That's why it's rotating. Like like you don't just LeBron James was the best player in the game for at least 5 years, right? I mean at least five, right? If not more, right? Kobe Bryant was the best player in the game for at least 5 or 6 years, right? These guys ain't even making it 5 or 6 years, Trey. It's 1 year, 1, 2 years, and then it's over. Then it's over.
So what you're saying is you don't foresee any team that is led by a foreign, whether an international player is their primary superstar winning another NBA championship currently? Because
I'm not.
it's not like you believe Boston. It goes to Boston still.
Well, I'm gonna put it like this. No, I don't. Wimby, like you said, until Wimby has the team around him, he's gonna be the next up, right? Until he has it, I don't see Denver winning another one. They didn't change anything. They didn't get better. The other teams around them are getting better. They kept the same squad pretty much. They didn't get better. They not putting pieces around Jokic to get better. And the Wolves are right on their heels. So it's like you got to get better. They didn't do anything to get better. The Bucks surely didn't get better for Giannis's purposes. I mean, which one of those teams led have gotten better?
I
Like
wish Giannis would have
since
held
they peak,
out and went to LA.
huh?
I said I wish Giannis would have held out before he signed that contract and went and signed with LA, but that was
Well,
wishful thinking.
but then you would get what you got. You would get this Giannis that you got right now, unless somebody get in his ear and change his mindset, man. Like
Yeah,
like his
I
mindset.
think he would have been a bigger one.
But you
Can you
haven't
imagine
changed
that?
AD's
Giannis and
mindset.
AD. AD
Y'all
is
haven't
a
changed
monster
AD's
right now.
mindset.
AD
Yeah,
is a monster right now, but
AD's playing like he wants it, right? And you say, where has that been? Has he just not been healthy this whole time to really want it? What's changed with AD that he wants it now?
it's because
Like what's
the window's closing.
but what's changed? It's like this the same guy that could put up those numbers anytime he get ready, can dominate anytime he get ready. No way you should be getting manhandled looking at awe at Jokic. No way possible. You should be swatting that. He should be shooting. Jokic rainbow should be so high, it should be it should be
So,
touching the rafters. It should be touching the jersey and the rafters when it come down. AD should be up on him playing that D like that. Jokic can't handle the ball that great, man. Stop it. We seen all these great. Jokic ain't got Kyrie handles. So how is he so hard to guard? That's what I'm saying.
but
Like you
sometimes it's the
you
slow
put
handle
Hakeem
that gets you.
Olajuwon, hey, you put Hakeem Olajuwon on that guy, he scores nothing. You know what I'm saying? He scores nothing, and he's mad. He get in his feelings. He scores nothing.
Is it fair to say that every great player has a kryptonite player? Is it fair to say that?
Yeah, it's fair to say that. Like it's fair to say that. Like you can go back through them all, right? I think it varies from person to person, right? Like for Kobe, I don't think Kobe knew that Paul Pierce played the way he played. Like until they met up in the finals, right? And then it's like, oh
Good
yeah,
one
you
from
know,
yeah.
Paul Pierce like I'm gonna bust you know what? Cause I, I mean, I think that stunned Kobe, right? Made him get on his game. You see it all the time. Like the only one that you can say that didn't have a rival once they hit their prime was Shaq. There was nobody that could rival Shaq in the league. He didn't have
I
a
don't
so
know. I
Shaq
don't
didn't
know.
have a.
You
I mean,
don't think
early.
this? I think it wasn't one player. I think it was Sacramento. Like I think Sacramento gave us the biggest fits. Vlade Divac, Chris Webber. I would even go and say maybe even the Trailblazers had almost had our number for
Well,
a second.
Rashid when they had Rashid Wallace, he was a difference maker. Rashid was a difference maker, right? Because he got
Honest.
that dog in him. Rashid got that dog in him though. Like he gonna play defense. He gonna play as hard as he can. Sometimes that's all you need is players to come together to play hard, right? Like Ben Wallace, I think did one of the best jobs against Shaq, as far as finals
When they got
went
swept,
or
this
something. Yeah. No, it was a gentleman sweep, right?
4-1.
Didn't y'all win one game? Or was it a
Yeah, if we
three-one?
won the first game and got swept the last four.
Yeah, but I think the combination of Rasheed Wallace and Ben Wallace, the two Wallace guys, and then Long Tayshaun Prince coming on the double team, that makes a whole lot of difference. Long arms, I think that made a difference. But back to your original thing, yes, there's certain players that have that kryptonite, right? Like LeBron struggles against the Golden State Warriors, right? Like I don't even know if he got a winning record. Like he beat them once in the finals. Um, that was great, but
Which he
most of the
shouldn't
time,
have,
Steph
he shouldn't have, but
Steph had a number most of the time, right? Like, I think you see it with all of them. Like we saw. Now we know Jimmy Butler is that guy for like the Jason
for
Tatum's.
Boston.
A
Yeah.
healthy Jimmy Butler is that guy, right?
Anyone, Jimmy
He's that
Butler
guy
is the crypto. A healthy Jimmy Butler is the kryptonite for anybody in the Eastern Conference Finals when he get there. That's it.
I mean,
Like
that's what I'm
if
saying.
Miami,
Like,
if the healthy Jimmy Butler and Miami are in the playoff, it's over for anyone in the Eastern
that's what I'm
Conference.
saying. This guy, I mean, you got the difference
Like you
makers.
said, that dog. He got that dog in him.
Yeah, it's a lot of it's like, and it varies right from team to team. Like who would you say KD right now? Kevin Durant, man, he runs into a lot of obstacles, right? Pretty much anybody that was his former teammate is like kryptonite to him. Like anybody, you know what I mean? Like anybody that he's played with in the past. But when you look at take Kyrie Irving,
Uh-huh.
Kyrie is real good. Kyrie is real good, but the people that smaller guards give him problems on the defensive end. Like the smaller guards that make him work, they drive
Kyrie's
him
losing a
crazy.
step. Kyrie is losing a step. I mean, his handle at some
Yeah,
point
but
is
they
going to be like his handle is like everyone fears his handle, but his handle ain't what it was.
but his on the like but they make him play defense. And if you make him play defense, Trey, it's a struggle. Yeah, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm still here.
Okay.
Can you hear
But
me?
yeah, like you make him play D and then yeah, I can hear you now. You make him play D, he struggles, man. Kyrie struggles defense. Same thing with Kevin Durant. The more defense he has to play, the less his offensive game. You know what I mean? Like KD's never found that balance. Like he can block shots. He got long arms. He can actually be a good defender. The problem is, do you want KD playing good defense because he don't do well on the other end of the court when he locking somebody
You got to
down?
choose. You got to pick your poison. That's why you're supposed
Yeah,
to
you
put
got to
around
pick your
people
poison.
around him.
Right. That's what I mean. You're supposed to put like what MJ had the benefit of having Scottie Pippen. That pretty much, you know, he can hold those wings. He can hold those two guards or whatever, even the point guards, right? Like the tough matchups for Jordan, he can put Pippen on and focus on scoring, right? Like you would think that a lot of teams would have that blueprint, but they say, that ain't the way to win. It's like if you want to win without a center, that's the way to win. You got to have guys that can lock down the perimeter. You got to have, I mean, you got a Dennis Rodman who can play inside, but he can also lock down the perimeter as well. You feel what I'm saying? You got to have those that can lock down the perimeter in order, and that's what made the Warriors so good. Clay and Draymond can lock down the perimeters. You know what I'm saying?
That's,
They can
yeah.
play perimeter D. That makes a whole lot of difference.
Andre Iguodala when he was still there. Yeah, yeah.
Right. You can D up. It makes a difference when you can stop the guy with the basketball. You know what I'm saying? Like you can stop the guy with the ball. It makes a difference.
Actually,
Or you can get to the problem.
that's how it was Andrew Wiggins the last time the Warriors won. It was him and his defense out of nowhere, right? No
Right.
one knew or thought Andrew was going to be who he was, and then he was problematic against Luca and stopped them, and then he went ahead and knocked off Boston. So
And when we talk stop people, we're not talking. You cannot go stop great players
stop,
from
yeah,
from
yeah.
scoring a bunch of points. But you can make Luca a volume shooter. If he took 30 shots, if he take 35 shots to get 35, 40 points, then you did your job. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
You did your job. That's all you
So
can ask.
So we was just talking about some of the top teams right now. If you was the top 5 teams when you look at it, Cleveland surprisingly 9-0, best start in a while. 7-2 Boston. We just talked about that. However, they did just lose to the 7-1 Golden State Warriors last night.
Yeah.
Um, Phoenix 7-1 and Oklahoma Thunder 7-1. Do you think we always talk about? I know last year we talked about who was next. He's like a healthy Grizzlies team might be. I don't know how strong that holds because they're not doing too well right now. But but they are a game above the Lakers, who they beat last night. But Oklahoma is a team that we said we was going to see coming. Um, is Minnesota? Do you think Minnesota gets back on the right track?
I don't know because I thought I mean I'm not mad that they got rid of Carl Anthony Towns, but I don't feel like they got enough back for him. And I don't think Rudy
You don't think
Gobert.
Julius
I don't,
was the right pick?
I don't think Rudy go Julie. If he got to learn to play some defense if he want to be on that team. First of all, because Rudy's gonna need your help when they put Rudy in the pick and roll. Oh man, it's easy pickings. It's easy
You
pickings
can't
coming
get
off
back
that pick
there.
and roll. You know what I mean? So you're gonna need Julius to try to step into that role
Someone
and
to step
actually,
up. To,
yeah. So
yeah,
I just want to see what his defense is like. Now the young man had real good. Remember when he came out, he was a Laker. He played good defense alongside Kobe early on in his career, but I ain't seen it since.
They
I ain't
get
seen it since
older.
he went to New York. I ain't seen it.
So, I mean, it's more to see. Of course, like you said, for the most part, you're only 9 games into the season, the 82-game season. We still have more to see. In a couple of weeks, we're going to start to see. Actually, next week, I believe, they start to see the first of the NBA, the
Tournament, right?
Cup series. Yeah, the champion in tournament series, to where these teams get to play, get a chance to play. Actually, the Lakers come to San Antonio next week. I have to see what that's looking like. So you got the Cup Series that's about to start to pop off. Um, Current after the first year, Los Angeles Lakers are the defending in tournament champions. Currently the in tournament
They
champions.
gonna win. They gonna win the number two, and Bronny gonna be the MVP. I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
Funny you say that, right? So of course, after this week, after their next game, Bronny is expected to go down. He's going to be assigned to the G League. However, he's not going to play any away games with the South Bay Lakers, who's the G League affiliate for the Los Angeles Lakers. He's not going to play any away games with them. He's when they go away, he's going to be reinstated with the Lakers active roster. So he's going to go between the G League and the Lakers team, but he will only play home games with the G League affiliate. What do you think about that?
That sounds like when Phil Jackson wanted to coach only home games and not away games. It sounds very similar. Sounds sound familiar. Uh, I don't think it's I don't think it's gonna matter. He needs the development, right? I think whatever time he can get to develop with his peers, his actual peers, is gonna help him out a long ways. Other than trying to balance that with the
Trying to run with
actual
the big
pros,
dogs.
yeah, like I think it's gonna help him out. And you called it. You saw this coming. You saw that he was gonna be in the G League. I didn't see that coming.
Right.
And you, as soon as you said it, I saw it like a couple of days later that he was
Yeah,
gonna be
because it was
on the
like,
G
I
League.
mean, Rich Paul talked that stuff, right? He's like, oh no, we don't want that. Like Bronny got a guaranteed contract, a millionaire basically. Outside the fact, I think he had an NIL on USC, but he's a millionaire. His yearly paycheck comes out to under a million because they're in Los Angeles, so that taxes hit hard. But he's a millionaire. His contract he signed 2 3 year contract, $4 million, so that puts him about $2 million a year. So he gets a rough, saying he gets his money right. But
Right.
he got that. But that conversation with Chris Paul was like only when he's not going to the G League. Once you're in my system, you can't tell me what I'm going to do with you. Like that's
Right. Right. Right.
what I'm saying. Like I don't give a damn. Like we can sit up and talk that, and because it's a business, I'll backdoor you and be like, no, we
And I
gonna
think
go
it
here.
also has, I think it has something to do with his daddy too, saying, "Man, I thought you was a little bit more ready than that. You ain't ready." Like you know what I'm saying? Like take every opportunity to get better, son. Like
Yeah,
you know
what
what I
I'm saying.
mean?
I mean, his dad was who his dad was. He doesn't have his dad's skills, so what I'm saying his daddy had to worry about a G League assignment.
Right.
It's just one of those things. Like, and
You know what?
there's no player outside of like we talked about before, outside of maybe Steph, that was better than their father. Like, what I'm saying,
Right.
that you have to worry about that. Like, there's no think about Shaquille O'Neal's kids. Think about um Jordan's children. Like, there's
Right.
nobody that I can sit up and think outside of Steph that
I saw
was.
I saw Pippin's son on somebody's roster playing.
Yeah,
He was in
he
a
got
game the other day.
he was in LA for a while. Then they released him, and I forget where he's at now. Is he in? No, I was thinking about his other son because some of the California teams is are they some of them play all on the same California high school or prep team, so they're getting ready to come in.
So
Matt
what do you think
Barnes
about
kids.
Melo's son next up? When is he hitting the draft? Like when is Melo's son? I heard he said he was going to Syracuse. Is he at Syracuse this year?
I think it's next year. I think he's a
Because
senior this year.
he might be one and done. Like he might
Yeah,
follow right
like his
in
dad. He
Melo's
might pull
footsteps.
off. I mean, he might not win a championship like his dad, but he might do a one and done like his dad. Same
Yeah,
thing like Bronny did.
yeah.
We didn't see so and like you got like this year. I think the Boozer twins are junior or
Hmm.
freshmen. I think so. You got the Boozer twins. You have the Barnes twins. I think there's the Kenyon Martin kid. There's
Mm-hmm.
a who else? I think there's another Scottie Pippen kid. Um, there's a couple of others out there that Ron Harper's child, or no, Ron Harper's son plays in college now. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a few of them out there. Also, offspring that are in college right now because it's two
Right.
Stephon Marbury's son and Paige Stojakovic's son both play for University of California. So it's a few out there. We know DJ Wagner's son plays in Arizona. I mean Arkansas. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a few that's out there. So we're going to see how that ends up going. Um, so Bronny, John Morant dispatched the Lakers last night. Whatever.
Well, he
LeBron
did.
dropped 9 in a loss.
Yeah, LeBron had a bunch of points for no reason. Um, is he a stunt double?
He's like he dude don't know how to fall.
Well, I've been saying that about Embiid. I think that's what holds Embiid back. Embiid hurts his team constantly by always rolling on the floor instead of getting back on defense. It's a good way to stay out of the defense if you just laying there on the floor all the time. You ain't never got to play D. You never have to Dikembe Mutombo it. You never have to AD it or anything if you always lagging back down the court. You picking yourself up off the ground. I think it's a good strategy by Embiid because we saw that when he wants to go all out, man, he can and he can dominate. He can dominate, and that's what makes me so frustrated with some of these players. Trey, I want to get to that about the man. You got this stuff that where you could be dominant and then you don't want to be. I don't even understand it. And then you think you can just turn it on like that when you really need it. That's not how that works. It's a thing called rust. You got to shake off rust. You got to shake off. Like it's different stuff that you have to do to work into that shape. That's why Shaquille O'Neal used the regular season to get into shape for the postseason, people. Like, let that be. Charles Barkley did the same thing during stretches of his career. Use the regular season to get it, but you can't do that if you're missing every other game. You can't get. I mean, what kind of chemistry do you expect? These teams are not being bounced out of the playoffs because they're not good teams. They're being bounced because they have no chemistry. They're being bounced because they don't play together enough during the regular season to develop that. The teams that do, the Denvers, the the Denvers, the Lakers, for the most part, when they healthy, they play together, right? They all there. The Boston Celtics, the Heat's downfall is that they best players are always hurt, right? Like Jimmy Butler, you see, but when they have that, when they healthy, what do? Like the
Yeah.
healthiest teams are the ones that's winning in the end. It's not always the better team. It's the teams that are the healthiest right now because these other guys, they take games off and then they don't work into shape and then they get injured when you need them the most.
So something that gets gobbled up for the most part, and tell me if you agree or disagree with this, is the college game. But when we talk about the college game, what portion of the college game do you think is more exciting? The women's? Are you looking more forward to seeing the women college play or the men's college?
No doubt. In the for me is split. Like
Oh, really?
I play attention to the men when it's March Madness, but throughout the season, I've been a Connecticut Husky fan for a long time. The women for the women, Gino Auriemma, man, he's one of my favorite coaches. Like as a person that aspires to be great, the people's coach, this that. I mean, you can't help but study that guy. So Gino has a huge impact on me watching, but I started to see Dawn what she doing, man. Greatness, before that, I was always into the game. The Shamiqua Holes claws, man. I like them all. But this year, for me, it's definitely the women. It's definitely the women's. Not even just the tournament, but the regular season to see how that shakes out. And it's not just Juju and the top names. It's it's
Juju!
not just the Paige Beckers and all those people. What it is for me, it's that game is vastly becoming very very entertaining to watch. The college men. This is why I don't like the college men. They need to change. They need to change some of the rules. The first rule I'm changing is that darn shot clock. Too long of a shot clock. Cut the shot
What,
clock down.
40 seconds?
They got 30 seconds, 35 seconds, whatever it is. It's too long. Way too long. Cut it down. Make them speed up the game ball. I get tired of them. You watch the Princeton teams in the tournament. They just passing the ball around the perimeter, passing it around the perimeter. It's like, what are we doing, man? like get that shot up. Yeah, that's exactly right. The women seem like they want to make an imprint and they want people's attention. I think the males falling off because they already got our attention, right? They've had it for a long time and they feel like they got, but it's like it's getting stagnant. Like change the shot clock rule and then speed up. I would make I wouldn't make college exactly like the NBA, but I would change that other rule to that 10-second bringing the ball up. Man, go to 9 seconds, at least 9.5, something. Make them speed up the game a little bit to make that game more interesting again.
Mm. So on the men's side, what's your take? Where are you looking at? Who you checking for? You know what? The men actually are going to
UConn,
be UConn. UConn.
UConn,
So
cause
UConn all day.
they going for they trying to be historic. The coach stayed there. He passed up NBA money. He passed up NBA money and the chance of a lifetime to stay there. So UConn, all eyes are on you, UConn. At least my eyes are on you. I want to see what you do. You better not fall short. You better not fall short, because that's something to talk about forever, right? That's something to talk about. And then I
You
want to
pass up
your
that
team,
money.
your team. I want to see the growth without Bronny overshadowing the USC team. I want to see what they actually got this year, if they've actually gotten better on the men's side, because I think the women are pushing them to get better quick. So I want to see what the men do. USC.
So I'm going to say this right, and I owe apology. Well, I don't owe an apology actually, but I need to apologize. Right, I definitely was not on board with the Colorado Buffaloes being a force in a sense. Not enough of a force because they ain't make the CFP rankings, but they're a force. Taking out
How are they a
Arizona.
force?
Well, they're 6-2 or 6-6 or 7-2. Yeah, that's not bad when you look at
I'm
it.
not.
Well, they did,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
they
not.
did make the CFP. They made the where they're in the rankings. They're number 20 in the CFP ranking at 6-2. Right? I didn't think they
20
was
is
going to
way
be
too high. 20 is way too high.
too high.
Yeah, too high.
They're not going. They're probably not going to make it to the get into the. Right now, the top 12 is Oregon at number 1, or Ohio State at number 2, Georgia at 3, Miami at number 4. At number 5 comes your Texas Longhorns at 6, Penn State 7, Tennessee 8. Surprisingly, the Indiana Hoosiers at 9. Another surprise, BYU 10, Notre Dame. Who would have thought it? Alabama at 11, and number 12, Boise State. Who, of course, Boise State as the biggest and baddest in the other 5. Is the table set for Alabama to make a comeback?
Oh yeah, it's always set for Alabama. They never out of it. And then the SEC championship game, whoever they end up playing against, and that if they make it to that game, is that always decides something for Alabama right there. Yeah, my Longhorns, they seem like they're in good shape, but I worry about them. I worry about them losing another game somewhere down the road to a team that they shouldn't lose to. Um, Georgia, Georgia safe for now, and the team to me that I'm surprised about is Penn State still up there after they have no offense. Year after year, I say the same thing about Penn State. When they gonna get some offense? You can't compete against Ohio State because you can't score the football. You can't score. Ohio State not that impressive on the defensive side of the ball either. You just can't. They just have problems scoring.
So potential games of the week this week, of course, before we get back into the NFL and do our picks for a night. Florida, even though they're a 500 team, 2-3 in the SEC, will be at UT this weekend. Georgia, number 3, Georgia faces off against number 16, Ole Miss. Number 8, Indiana will face off against a 5-4 Michigan Wolverines. Who else? That's double ranked opponents. Texas Tech will be hosting the 20th ranked Colorado Buffalo. Number 11, I think this is the game of the week. Number 11, Alabama faces off against number 15, LSU. LSU, after losing their game at the beginning of the season against the USC Trojans, have battled back, have only lost one game since then, 3-1 in the SEC against a 3-2 team in the Alabama in the SEC. Both of them 6-2. I think if Alabama loses this game, it's done for them, no
Yeah,
matter what.
it's a wrap.
Yeah,
That's
it's a
why I
wrap.
don't think they're gonna
So
lose this game.
I mean, you think it's a wrap. We think it's a wrap. If LSU can beat Alabama, we think it's a wrap for Alabama. It's more than likely a wrap for Alabama. LSU should catapult them. But of course, if someone like LSU loses, then Alabama continues to win. That's going to put them back in play, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, we can think of other stuff for the most part. You still got Penn State that's out there. That's number 6. When I look at it, bro, I sit back and I think about it. How many opportunities USC had against these top ranked opponents? They had Penn State on the ropes and they buckled. They had Michigan on the ropes and they buckled. Then they go and to they lose to Rutgers. I remember watching that game. They go and lose to Rutgers. They go and they lose. They just lost last week again with a lead. Lost to Washington. Who else they
Stinking
lose?
Riley.
It's like
Stinking
these
Riley.
guys, man. It's
He
like,
is
what are
he is
you
not that
doing?
guy. Uh uh
I'm not going. I'm going. So
go
I don't think it's not him. I just think that Miller Moss isn't that guy. I think it's. I can't say we're going to put it
who
all
picked
on
him?
Miller Moss. He
Who
was
picked him?
there. He was already there. He was there
Yeah, but who
already.
picked him? He was already there, but who made him a starter?
Well, that's because they ain't have anybody else. All we
Man, you
have,
got all the
well,
players
Miller
in the
Moss
portal.
had 3 years.
You
Miller
can pay
Moss
people
already
now.
had 3 years
You can
as
pay
a.
people.
He said we can pay people now.
You can pay people now. I don't even want to hear that. That's no stinking Riley going with his gut, going with what he wanted, and it's not working, man. It's not working. It's just not work. I mean, this is gonna be now. You know why he ran from Oklahoma so fast. I mean, it's not working. And once people start to see that it's the coach and not the players, man, you can't tell me it's all the players. It's the coach. You got to do something different with the coach. Like like for real. Many of players have put on the USC and a lot of USC Trojans uniform and find that traditional and find that they want to give their all or something. But they're not putting it all on the line for this guy. It's the coach. It's the coach.
USC is 2-5 in the Big Ten.
Say that again.
2-5, bro.
And what is
4-5
Oregon in the Big
overall.
Ten? And what is Oregon in the Big Ten? And what is
They're
I mean,
undefeated.
you feel what I'm saying? Right. What is Washington? I mean, do you feel me? Like
Washington is 3-3 in the Big Ten. Oregon is 6-0 in the Big Ten. Who else went over there with them? What UCLA? They was the other one. UCLA is 2-4 as well, but they're better
but
than
see
USC.
the Cali teams are struggling, right? And I think right now it might be the travel to some of those games or a little bit for the players. That's a little bit different. But I think Oregon's dominated because they just a little bit better coached, man. They more well coached. They got a institution that understand the assignment, and I don't think USC understands the assignment. Like you got to move away from this guy. This guy is not prepared. How can you not be prepared? You got a faster team than all of. Where are your speed guys? Where's all that stuff coming into play? How do you keep losing lead after lead? Your team gives you a lead, you can't keep it.
They lost 27-24 to Michigan. They lost 24-17 to Minnesota. They lost 33-30 overtime to Penn State. They lost 29-28 to Maryland. Oh no, they beat Rutgers, but then they come around and they lose. They was up against Washington and lost 26-21. And now they need 2 games to become bowl eligible, but they have Nebraska, UCLA, and Notre Dame to finish out the season.
Well, look, a sneaky win for them. They can beat Notre Dame if, if they go and play. Like if they go and play, they can beat Notre. Well, I don't know. Notre Dame has been getting better throughout the season. They was if this was earlier in the season, they could really just beat them. But I still think they can sneak up on Notre Dame, and that'll be the highlight of their season right there.
So it's fine because exactly what's going on. What's going on, Loke? What's going on, Loke? What's going on, Taddy? What's going on, homie? So what we know, of course, is like, and what I was about to say is what exactly has happened is Miller Moss has been benched for the freshman coming up. So maybe he gets in and maybe he can do something to show something because it's Miller Moss's last year, and there's nothing that we can do at this point. So it's maybe he goes in and finishes off the season. Maybe he can get the 2 wins we need for a bowl game, and or 3 to finish off the season. Go get some time in the bowl game, and Miller Moss get an opportunity to play lastly in the bowl game, depending on what the situation is. But
Hats off, hats off to Dion. By the way, I just want to put that out there. Thinking about it, last year losing season, this year so far winning record. I mean, you go finish with a winning record this year at
yeah,
least at minimum. But
yeah.
you still got some tough games, and if you slide into that Big 12 championship game, that's gonna be huge. That's gonna be that. Oh boy, that's gonna be some noise because the Big 12 is down this year, and that's no excuse, but it is kind of down this year. What you looking at? Like I think the Utah Utes went over there or something like that. Like
Yeah.
so, you might be looking at Colorado and Utah clashing in the if that's possible, for the championship or something. But yeah, it kind of fell off. But good job, uh, uh, not proving people wrong, but actually showing some growth for Colorado this year.
So that Colorado has Texas Tech, the Utes, Kansas, and Oklahoma State left on their schedule, which
Oklahoma State
none
ain't nothing.
none of them are none of them are ranked opponents. So they can run the table almost, maybe finish
Right
10-2 potentially.
now, now,
Uh,
before look Trey, before we make our picks and stuff, man, I want to put this out there. These coaches, grown men, guys that's supposed to lead teams, stop crying with the fans. Why are you so mad at us? Because we call you out. Why are you you know what I'm saying? Like why I'm talking Gundy, Oklahoma State or whatever. Why are you not you seen it in the pros with Sirianni, you seen it period. Why are you so mad with the fans for calling you on your BS? Step your game up. You know what I'm saying?
you think he's built enough? He has enough equity into the team to be a coach next year?
Yeah, I think he leaves if he wants to leave. I think he's done enough to get another shot.
So right now, if we was to start right now, the Iowa Cyclones has the advantage over Colorado as far as like we were just talking about the be in the Big 12 championship game.
Mm-hmm.
Just a half game behind, basically. They're both 4-1, but Colorado has 2 losses on the year as to Cyclones 1 loss. BYU is the front runner, undefeated at this
That's what I
point.
meant. I didn't mean the Utes. I meant BYU.
BYU, yeah, the Utes are
Big
one and
12.
four, 4-4 in the season.
Big
So
12.
they're well, I mean, they the majority of the conference can get into a bowl game. It looks like possibly. So we have yet to see. We'll see that. So like you said, getting into coming up on our little hour, getting into it. So tonight's game, Baltimore Ravens, Cincinnati
Mm.
Bengals. You got the juggernaut in Jackson, and as we know, last week, Derrick Henry hit his 100th rushing touchdown or 100 rushing touchdowns. Now he has over 100 touchdowns total, which is not accomplished by many. And then you got Burrow, who has been formidable. He's been looking good for the most part. Versus the
Yeah.
versus just in general, the Bengals ain't been looking that good, but Burrow has been looking
Cincinnati
good.
has not been losing because of Joe Burrow, people. They have not been losing because of that man. I tell you that. He been balling.
So now he comes in to where he has to slay the dragon. He's been playing against top tier teams, and he has not came out good. What do you think he needs to do to win this tonight? If you was to say for him to get a dub, what would it be that you think he has to happen? What has to
Well,
happen?
they last game against them went to overtime. This time, do something with the rock in overtime, right? Like do something with it. Like do something with the and don't leave it in the hands of your defense if you can help it. Like if your defense get a stop, man, you got to go down there and score. So score would be my thing. Like no field goals, touchdowns.
So last week, that's all I want to talk about, right? Last week we seen what happened, right? Overtime with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which was a surprise. I just knew for a fact
Yeah,
that Tampa Bay was going to get smacked, and that was not the case. They did majority of the smacking with less, but of course, Patrick Mahomes and company. Did you see the look on Baker Mayfield's face when he seen they lost that coin toss at the
When they lost
beginning?
the coin toss, yeah, he knew it was over. See, that's what I'm saying. When you play somebody great like Pat the Great, you know it's over. You know what I'm saying? You know it's over. That look just tell you everything that you needed to know. It's over. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna touch this ball. But
He
good
came
job by
close with
Baker.
that, with a penalty or two
Man, good job by Baker Mayfield for man. Like no
for
receivers. He
keeping.
didn't have he didn't have his receivers, but this people, that's an inspirational story. This guy has truly turned his life around. They didn't lose that game because he played bad, because Baker played bad. They lost that game because Patrick Mahomes got the ball last. He got the ball first in overtime, which means he got it last. Like that's why they lost that game. Good effort all the way around, man. But I told you the Chiefs gonna be hard to beat with that man. Like if that man play like that with a bad ankle, that man play like that, no matter what's going on. Hey, did
But
you see?
is it fair to say D Hop that nuke did that
Oh,
thing?
but did you see? Man, now I got a weapon. Now I got another red zone weapon. As if I didn't already have a red zone weapon. Now I got a red zone weapon with for sure hands. You see the way he snatched that ball? Give me that. In between two, three people, give me that. You know what I mean? No. This is what it is. Hopkins has an opportunity to erase some narratives about him, and he gonna take full advantage of it on the championship team. Now, whether they win a championship or not, that's neither here or there, people. But I'm gonna tell you what, it makes a difference when you know your quarterback is great and you know everybody in that locker room got your back. Ain't nobody talk about you behind your back. Ain't nobody selling you out. Everybody's in this together, man. The Chiefs are in that together. They going after three. So for him to be a part of that, like his first one to be they third in a row. You feel what I'm saying? So I think he's sitting comfortable. I think he's taking advantage and saying like, look, this is what I can do. If the ball's anywhere here, where you know what I'm saying? Like you ain't even got to put it right here. Put it here, anywhere. I'm gonna go get it. I like that.
On the other side of the ball, so now we have, in which now you have a possibility for the Chiefs could potentially get. They're the only undefeated team. Is it do you think possibly they go undefeated and win the Super Bowl?
No, they're
They
gonna
can't
lose because
have
they're
both of
gonna
them.
lose because they're gonna rest. They're gonna rest some guys. Like coming down some point, they probably won't rest. Like Patrick Mahomes gets to say if he rests or not, so they probably won't rest him too much. But you gonna start resting some of your other starters. Coming like once you got a big enough lead, especially once you done put your division out of reach and stuff like that, you gonna start letting some of these guys heal up and rest and stuff. So no, I think they're gonna lose at least one game. The game I got circled for them to lose is they got to play the Chargers at some point. They always end up somebody in their division gonna take them down. Like either the Chargers or I think they got to play the Broncos again or something like that. Last year they lost to the Raiders, so I think the Chargers they got the Chargers on their schedule. I think the Chargers will beat them or something like that because the game will be more meaningful for the Chargers to win than the Chiefs.
Okay. So, like you said, we got two games in which you're gonna pick tonight. Already got Bishops, and while he's out in New Orleans partying it up with our frat brothers and our sorority sisters. Um, Baltimore and Cleveland. I mean, Baltimore and Cincinnati. Who you got tonight?
Ooh, man, Cincinnati sound like the good pick, man. I mean, I was leaning towards it all day, man. Thinking about that all day, man. But at the last minute, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna take Baltimore and say Baltimore sweep them this time around. Cause Baltimore at home too.
I concur with that statement. Of course, it's like you said, the home games is really brings it all back into. But Baltimore is a dominant team right now, and they seen what they did. I'm very sure they went back and looked at what happened in Cincinnati uh, versus Cincinnati last time, and they have a more of a mindset on what should be happening. They have a new weapon in Deontay Johnson, so that may come into play. I don't know how much of a difference that makes, but you have that's coming in. So they have a receiver. They had brought in another receiver. They got Bateman. They got Johnson. They got uh, uh, Flowers. They have Hill out the backfield. Derrick Henry sometimes out the backfield. They still have Likely and uh, what's his name?
Andrews.
Andrews. Yeah, Andrews. They still have Andrews. Like they have weapons and they just got back last their threat from last year, who got injured last year in Devin Mitchell. So it like barrel riches for the most part, and which they're going to be able to put on display. So
I just think Cincinnati. I don't think Cincinnati has enough this year. You know what I mean?
oh wow, I didn't know that DJ. Dang, well, what were you saying? Sick. I'm sorry.
I just don't think they got enough. I don't think Cincinnati got enough at stake right now to really care. Like I don't think it's a Thursday night game too. Man, Henry running the ball late in that game, people gonna be the difference, a huge difference, like it was in the first one. Late in that game, you know.
I agree. Also, I'm going with Baltimore as well as Bishop. He said he's going with Baltimore, so that makes a clean sweep in that one. So the Sunday night game, the Saturday morning game. I'm sorry. Of course, we know another game over across the water in Germany this time. We have the Carolina Panthers will be facing off with the New York Giants. Do we see a situation to where Carolina gets two in a row, or is Daniel Jones going to be able to pull it off and get and stop that and send them back? In basically, it seems like this is the battle for the number one seed. I mean, number one draft pick. Who do you see? Who do you think has the advantage? The
I just
Giants,
haven't. I haven't
Panthers.
been good at picking them. I haven't been good at picking these when it comes to these kind of games right here. I just haven't been good, you know. But I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go out on a limb and I'm gonna take Carolina. I've been dogging Carolina all season, but I'm gonna take Carolina only because the Giants, man, they don't look good at all. Like I don't see flashes of nothing good. Dable was the coach of the year 3 years ago, and now I don't know. Like maybe he doesn't have talent or something. I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna take the Panthers in that game.
So they have Brooks that's coming into the fray, just like what Anthony Price was just talking about. You have Brooks coming to the fray. You got Chuba Hubbard. He just signed that deal that's going to net him about roughly 30 million a year. I mean, 30. That's a 4 year deal of 30 million, roughly close to I think 33 million, 34 million. So just a little over 8 million a year that he just signed the extension. Uh, so they have a quartet. They have a duel in running backs, right? That's at their disposal. Actually, yeah, they have a duel of running backs. Something similar. One team that has a duel of running backs that has been dominant is the Detroit Pistons. I mean Detroit Lions. But is that
That's
enough?
the only team that philosophy is
That's what
working
works
for
for.
right now. That's the only team. Ben Johnson's schemes are perfect, but that's the only team it's working for. That duel, you got Derrick Henry and Derrick Henry solo. I tell you, the other guy just comes in for mop up duty. I mean, for real, no. You that double stuff don't work for everybody, and it doesn't put up points. People, you got to score points in this league. Uh, you don't. You see what happens, you don't score points with that. Only the Lions are putting up, and then they throwing the accuracy of the quarterback is aiding that running game, is helping that run game. It's like the run game is great, but Detroit is the only team that's doing it. Until
Yeah.
proven otherwise, what other team has been successful with that? It's not working right now.
So I think the 49ers are going to have an opportunity, as we know, potentially. It's a possibility that they get Christian McCaffrey back. So the running back committee is what is going on. So maybe San Francisco with Jake. It'll be a atrocity to sit up and to limit Mason after what he did to help out San Francisco in the run game. Now, if he's injured, I get it, but because
Man,
Michigan
please.
give
Healthy
they're
Christian
gonna feed him,
McCaffrey,
they're
Mason,
gonna
you
feed
going
him.
back to the bench. You going back with you talking about an MVP type player. Stop it,
Yeah, but
man.
it's so I've sit up and thought about it, right? True enough, Christian McCaffrey's coming back, right? 10 games, 10 games to the good. But it's a slippery slope because it was his Achilles tendonitis that put him at risk, which means it could come back. He's had rest, but it could come back, right? Because he's about to get to it. So it's a slippery slope. Like, yeah, he's rested for 10 games and he's there. He's coming back and got 6, 7 games in him to put a hurt on somebody to where he can be effective. But I don't know. Maybe they got thunder and lightning now.
Man,
Maybe that's
what's y'all record with Mason?
4-5.
Exactly. Exactly. What's the record? I mean, C Mac all the way, man. Stop it. Stop it. Get back on the winning track. If you want to get back on the winning track, listen to me, 49ers. You're going to need, y'all ain't been nothing without this guy. You're going to need him. I mean,
I mean,
I like
we
Mason.
still we heard like
I like
we get
Mason.
Jawan Jennings back. Yeah, yeah. I do. So we get Jawan Jennings back. Supposedly, Christian McCaffrey potentially back. In a couple of weeks, we should be getting Dre Greenlaw back. We're not gonna get Hargraves. He's out because of the pectoral. I don't think we're getting him back. But I mean, so Hafunga, we get to come. He's coming back off of I think a broken hand. So we should be good. We
But
should
C
it
Mac,
should be the right time.
but C Mac is not only important in the run game, he important in the pass game. This guy knows how to put the ball in the end zone. That's the one thing that Mason hasn't done enough of, Trey. Put the ball in the
Correct.
end zone.
Yeah. I mean, he's the
C
thumper, so
Mac
that's
don't.
why I said maybe it's
So you let Mason run up and down the field, but in that red zone, I want to see C Mac on the field. You score them touchdowns, man. Like we need touchdowns, not field goals, for real.
but to get back to the other one, so you going with Carolina.
Yeah,
Bishop
Carolina.
chose Carolina as well. I think this one I'm going with New York Giants. I'm going to put
Ooh,
my trust in Daniel Jones,
ooh.
who I think is who's underrated in a sense. I think I mean, he doesn't have a receiving core. He doesn't have much of anything there. Tracy is his top backup. Yeah, CNC so much paying Jordan Mason, New York, trading him for more draft picks. Uh, we good. We won't keep
Man, you know he
CMC.
being traded. You know he gonna be traded at some point.
Who? Jordan.
That's what the 49ers do. Another coach leave or another coach leave, he going with the next coach.
He goes with
He going
them.
with the
Yeah,
next
that's
coach.
exactly what happens. Yeah, that's like we got Elijah Mitchell back out there, but that's exactly what happened. Or
Yeah.
Monster, we got Monster, and then he ended up going right back to like he go back and forth between those teams. So we'll
Right.
find Mason in Houston next year.
That's what I'm saying.
So, but that's where I'm going. I'm going with the New York Giants. I'm going to go ahead and take the Giants, even though they're, like you said, this is a rough one. This is the battle of battle of the bottom. But that's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to go ahead and push forward with the Giants. And so I got Baltimore and the Giants. You and Bishop have Baltimore and the Carolina Panthers. Hopefully with this with the second, I'll go ahead and move ahead in the overall standing and go from there. So we shall
Mm.
see.
Man, it was
So
brutal. I can't wait till Sunday because I got some choice words about my favorite team, about my team. My fandom is not doing well. It's not sitting well, people. Man,
so of course y'all hear it more.
Cooper Rush, baby.
It's Coop 5-1. We'll see.
We gonna see.
He's successful. He's successful against the Eagles too.
I
You'll
don't know if
see.
he can help this squad. We gonna see.
So of course y'all know where to be at come Sunday morning. Y'all know it is 11 p.m. 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. We're gonna be right back here giving our Sunday week 10 picks. I have to get Bishop's just in case he's not there around, and we can go from there. Greatly appreciate y'all tapping in, tuning in today. Y'all see the running back. Y'all can see it on YouTube, or of course right here on First Formation or my own personal page. I look forward to speaking to y'all. We up out of here. Peace. Enjoy the rest
Have a
of your
good
night.
one.